Rich, you've been talking about the air quality and how dangerous it is out there. We're going to bring on Nurse Alice right now, someone who's very familiar to our viewers here at NBC4. We're not talking about just people with breathing conditions, asthma, and as Fritz pointed out, pulmonary issues. This is everyone in this area, correct?
Absolutely. So while there are groups who could be at higher risk, like the heart disease, lung disease, and pregnant people, anyone can be affected by this smoke. And what's the most dangerous part of it is this smoke is comprised of dangerous gases and compounds from the burning material that's there and other fine particles. And so this gets into the air and it travels with the wind. And these are very microscopic. You can't see these things, and it's very easy to inhale. And once these particles you inhale them, they can penetrate deep into your lungs and cause severe problems. I'm talking chest pain, wheezing, shortness of breath, palpitations, and this is what wreaks havoc on your heart and your lungs.
So this can, of course, lead to very serious consequences, heart attack and other problems, right?
And absolutely, and what I think is very important that people often don't know is that smoke inhalation is the leading cause of death when it comes to fire. So even if you're not in the immediate vicinity, if you can't see the flames, you can't see the smoke, still because of this wind blowing, anyone can be potentially affected.
Nurse Alice, if you have to go out, let's say you don't have one of those masks, but you have to go out, what should you do? Do you wrap like a handkerchief around your face? Do you need to wet it down in order to give another barrier? I mean, just give us some advice on that.
Right. So absolutely, if you can stay home, stay at home. Keep the windows up. Keep the AC going. You want to filter the air. If you have to wear a mask and don't have, and I would recommend an N95 particle mask. Those are the ones that healthcare providers use for taking care of patients with tuberculosis. Those are the ones that are going to prevent the fine particles from going.
At
you can get them at Home Depot, the hardware store. You can get them at the Rite Aid.
They're the ones that have the little respirator in them,
Absolutely.
correct?
They're the N95 masks. So those would be the preferred masks. But if you don't have that, take a shirt, take a sweater, take anything, any barrier that you have. Having something is better than nothing.
Let's talk about the stress of all of this. We saw there has been one death already. A gentleman, we understand, suffered cardiac arrest trying to save his home. People who think they're in shape, they can stay behind, they can work on their houses. You don't realize the stress level when this is going down.
This is a very stressful situation, and our adrenaline kicks in. So we're a lot stronger than what we think we are, and it's going to be very important that you think of safety first. I know it's probably very devastating to lose your home, but you can replace a home. You can't replace a life. And, in stressful situations, we're not always thinking correctly or properly. And in an effort to save our home, we actually might be putting ourselves and our family members at risk and your own self at risk. So this gentleman, as it's been reported, died of a cardiac arrest because of that. It could have been, we don't know if he had pre-existing conditions. He could have been very healthy, but still, like I said, that exposure to the smoke, those dangerous gases, those fine particles, those embed into your lungs. And our lungs are very fragile. The tissue in there doesn't repair itself as easily as it does on the outside of our skin. So if you damage the inside of your lungs, your ability to oxygenate the rest of your body is severely impaired. And so even if you don't have pre-existing heart conditions, you can still have a cardiac arrest from this exposure.
And Nurse Alice, give us a sense of the timeline here, because we're not just talking about today as being problematic. I mean, this air quality isn't going to clear up overnight.
No, it's not. And here, in the Los Angeles area, Southern California, we don't have the best air quality as it is.
Right.
So you couple that with the smoke and all of these particles, we're not going to be out of the woods for quite some time. These particles can actually hover and stay in the air for long periods of time. Depending on how small the particle is, the smaller the particle, the longer it can stay suspended in the air. So even when the fires are over, we want to make sure that viewers take some time. Again, avoid going outdoors if all necessary. Limit activities. My son plays football. Football was canceled today because even though they weren't in the immediate vicinity, because we know with these winds, these particles are very dangerous. They travel, and we want everyone to be safe.
Yeah, we don't think about that, but you're talking about 20, 30 miles away. The air quality, because we're in a basin here, the air is trapped. Some of these particulate matters are trapped here. Talk to us a little bit about, as well, we talked about the stress. We heard a woman say something about taking a sleep aid, and, people typically do this, but if there's like a high fire danger going on or a red flag warning, advice on that?
Yes. So we obviously, as healthcare professionals, we don't recommend sleep aids unless they're absolutely necessary. For one, it can disrupt your sleeping pattern if you become dependent on a sleeping aid once you stop taking
Even
a sleeping
something
aid.
as simple as melatonin?
Yes, any type of sleeping aid. You can grow to become dependent on it. So once you don't have it, then it's going to be difficult for you to fall asleep. But I would say in a situation like this, especially if you're anywhere in the vicinity with the way that embers are in the air and floating around, you want to be on alertness. You want to be alert to know what's going on.
You know it's coming.
Yes, you want to know if it's coming. And so the sooner you know if it's coming, the better you can prepare. So if you're, anywhere in any area that's closely to the fire, start preparing your luggage, your some necessities, your important papers, and just be ready to go.
Yeah.
The one thing we always forget about are shot records.
Yes.
Take those with you.
Good advice. All of that.
Any health information you have, your medical records, shot records, your medication. So also I want to encourage people, if you're on medications, your family member, have a 7-day supply with you in the car, in your purse, with you at all times, because that's something you definitely don't want to go without.
Well, Nurse Alice Benjamin, thank you for coming in and bringing us up to date on all of this, because these are dangerous times that we're in right now. But we are getting word that parts of the 5 freeway are reopening now, and Gil Levis is overhead for us.